get to watch it because I haven't had time.
Sounds like my life.
You get my good side.
Okay, I'd like to call the regular meeting of the Inland Wetlands and Water Courses Commission, July 17th, 2018, 7:30. You want to take attendance?
Sure. Randolph Dill, absent. Mary Augustini,
Here.
Brian Goff,
Present.
Daniel Janey, absent. Jennifer Burton Reeve.
Here.
Okay.
All right, minutes. I have a little problem with minutes. I'll go first. Commissioners present and absent. Daniel was absent and Brian was present.
Yeah.
When I do show up, can I at least get credit?
Yeah. Okay. And then, except for correction of the minutes, all the approvals should have Brian on there
Brian
instead of
instead
Jay.
of Okay.
Just cut and paste me from Dan.
Yeah, all the way through. The question I have is that on item B, the East Haddam athletic fields, Mr. Grindle proposed to fill in the wetland area. I didn't think we were
No, he
filling
wasn't doing
in.
any filling.
No, they weren't filling.
Okay, if it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the end of the fifth line down. There is 4,600 square feet of delineated. Mr. Grindle proposes to fill in the wetland area. I didn't think we,
Well, basically, it's going to be, it was the creation of the basin in the wetland area.
I think that needs to be correct.
Okay.
'Cause
Yeah, because what it should say is that, because the drainage basin is now where the wetland area is proposed. So it would be, instead of proposes to excavate the wetland area for a drainage
Right.
basin.
Yeah. Oh,
And it should be identified that this is not a important wetland area either. It was pretty much just kind of a dry soil.
low quality. I think
Yeah.
that was in the report that he was talking
Yeah.
about.
Yeah, it's in the report.
Okay,
Yep.
that's all I had. Anyone else?
Nope.
Anybody?
I approve we accept the minutes as corrected. Minutes from June 19th, 2018, where I am Dan and Dan is I.
Second.
Any other comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? So voted. Bills.
None.
Okay, good. We didn't have any field inspection reports this month.
Moving right along.
Okay, permit review. Continued, 18 Shore Road, Dan O'Mara, construct a pavilion in the upland review area. Assessors map 67, lot 66.
What do you have?
I think you guys have a copy of the site plan, right? That we-
Yes. Yep.
But this is just basically who wants them? I got 3 copies. It's just
Hand it out.
basically a 12 by 20, just with 6 8-inch piers. Oh, wait a minute. And then if you look at, this is the side view here, side elevation, front, and then the footprint.
And you have somewhere else where it shows exactly where it
Yes,
is
this
on
is
this
part
one.
of the original site plan.
How about finishing materials? Paint it, stain it, none of the above.
It'll probably be stained, just, also on as well, rustic looking stain. That's kind of the building a little bit, building's got a semi-transparent, like red on it.
And then underneath the deck itself, you're
It's
gonna do
all
anything?
gravel now,
It's gravel now, it's gonna
Yeah.
stay gravel.
yeah.
Yeah, do you have that identified or is that on that plan? Gravel?
No, but we can do, yeah. Yeah, it says gravel underneath it. Yes, it does. Yep.
Are you hand digging the holes for the,
Well, maybe you get an auger if it'll go through it,
yeah,
you know.
if you're not bringing equipment in, that's what I meant.
No, if it'll be a hand auger.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's exactly as it is, has these laid out on this plan.
Oh, let's see.
14.
1410.
The roof, overhangs on
Right.
each side, so the
So the roof,
roof will overhang of like
He
a
doesn't have
foot,
the
I
full
think he's got on
dimensions,
each
but
side,
that's
right?
yeah.
6
Yeah,
by
it's a little
6,
overhang.
12. 4.
And there are no gutters that just
Not just
Drip-
drip
drips
to
in
the
and-
That's
gravel, yeah.
into the gravel area or
Yeah.
a little stone, is there like a
Yeah, I
little
thought
stone?
didn't you
Yeah,
come down?
yeah.
I think you came
Yeah.
down, yeah.
Wait a
It's
second.
just like,
Right.
Is
One-
20.
Yeah, but I'm,
1-inch
right,
gravel.
right, but this is 14, so I'm trying to figure out the 14 is,
This way.
okay,
Yep.
okay. I'm gonna put that on here, actually, this will be your copy, how's that?
Yeah.
Put the date on there too.
Yep. So the answer, Mary, is that the numbers are on here, we just had to sum them up and add them up,
Yep.
and so Jimmy's gonna get mine here.
Yep.
Oh, we got 17,
16,
nope, 18, 17.
17.
Okay.
I move that we approve the application W 18-14, 18 Shore Road, Dan O'Mara Construction Pavilion in the Upland Review Area, Assessors Map 67, Lot 66, with the map dated 7/17/18.
My second,
Any discussion?
do we want pictures? Before and after, just a suggestion, what do you
Yeah,
think?
I would like to, or you submit a picture once you've constructed it, for the record.
All right, I seconded it.
Yeah, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
Good luck.
Thank you. Jim, I'll see you for the variance.
Yes.
All right.
Yep.
Thanks, guys.
All right.
Have a good night.
Okay. Continued, W 18-17 Fox Hop Yard Bridge over the 8 Mile River, Town of East Haddam, replace existing bridge.
What did we decide? We doing a public hearing on this thing?
Well,
Oh, no, Jimmy said that they had done public hearings
They
already.
had a public forum.
Okay.
They had public forums,
Yep.
and that package he gave you, should have had one of those in there.
It did.
And there
Never seen it.
didn't seem to be any,
I was there wasn't any outcry.
Outcry.
Randy was there, there wasn't.
Many neighbors, probably not many neighbors in there,
Yeah,
right?
State of Connecticut's the biggest neighbor.
There you go.
and I did email Randy to see if he had any concerns or anything, and he had no problem.
Okay. The only thing that sucks is that nobody can go over the bridge for how long? 3 months? Guessing?
Yeah, we're doing everything possible, just
It-
accelerated construction.
Right, and originally you said they were gonna start in March or April, but I guess you're not.
March of 2019.
Oh, 2019 now. Okay. Go ahead.
Okay, so I am Mike Brady, this is Eric Buckley, we're from the company Close Jensen and Miller. We are DOT's consultant liaison engineers, and we are presenting on behalf of the town. This is Foxtown Road over 8 Mile River, bridge number 4651. Currently, we have a timber superstructure that's supported on stone masonry abutments. And the bridge has come to a deteriorated point where it's deemed eligible for replacement on the federal local bridge program. So we have gone through the preliminary engineering study phases. We did investigate different bridge structure types, which was elected by the town to go with a precast arch structure. Two reasons why it was eligible for replacement was because the abutments were deteriorated to a point where they were rated a 4 through its inspection report, and the bridge was also considered too narrow. So the proposed bridge will have 2 lanes on it versus the 1 lane that is currently considered on there today. We will be adding a sidewalk. The Bridge will be constructed, as we discussed, from March to the very beginning of June and end of May 2019. The low point that's currently on the bridge now will be shifted slightly to the west, and as you'll see here in this plan, we're going to be adding catch basins just directly to the west of the bridge to catch the water and to prevent the sediment from flowing into the river. During construction, we'll be utilizing sandbags for cofferdams, and we will be constructing the bridge in the dry. There won't be any machines or anything in the water when the construction is being performed. And we will use best management practices during the course of construction to avoid any kind of sediment or any kind of disturbances to the river.
Where are you rerouting?
The detour,
No, I mean for the water, sorry.
oh, okay, let's see, that plan behind it.
I mean, you're not restricting the flow of the water at all, are you?
So you're just gonna, okay, I see what you're doing.
Yes.
All right, now I understand. So you're not gonna redirect, you're just gonna shrink it down. Okay, when the low flows, you should have no problem doing that. All right.
There were a couple of end comments from the 8 Mile River Committee that you've incorporated in there. Mostly it was a sign and making sure that the historic stuff.
Will not be disturbed,
There-
correct. And it won't be. That's all.
DEP has seen this, because that's,
DEP has seen this, we've met all their recommendations, we've incorporated all their comments. And actually, the last bit, one of the requirements that they asked us to do was to salvage the stone from the existing bridge for any future projects that the town may have. So that is part of our contract too, just so you guys are aware.
all right, I meant like fisheries, but fisheries clearly saw that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, fisheries, we went and presented to OEP, Fisheries, Army Corps of Engineers at DOT at an interagency coordination meeting,
Okay.
and they took no exception.
So when you actually under construction, you won't be impeding the flow of water from that wetland above, and also there won't be any silt or anything.
No, it's all confined behind,
There
silt fence at the toe of all
Yeah.
the constructed slopes, and then that, the sandbag cofferdam will wrap around and make it
Okay.
a completely confined area.
And you said you're putting a detention basis to the left, that's west, that's where the parking lot is, I think, isn't it?
That's the Hop Yard Road side.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just past the entrance to the parking lot, we're not going
Right.
to block or interfere with
And
that
what,
parking.
Okay.
right, and where's that detention basin?
It's through
Drainage.
catch basins, it's not an actual.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it won't drain into that river at all?
Well, actually.
They will, yeah, the outlet will bring it to the river.
So you're gonna capture what comes down from the west,
Yep,
and then it's gonna go down into the river. Is it downhill to the east? Is that why you're not capturing anything on the east?
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
Actually, we got a profile here if you guys wanna see the roadway profile. Everything's sloped over the bridge, the low point is just beyond the bridge, so everything will flow from the east down to that low point over the bridge.
Okay.
It's gonna be caught with the curbs and everything, so.
So right now, what kind of flow have you got going in from runoff, from rain runoff, from the west?
that's a good question.
Well, I only say it because if you have sheet flow now and you're putting something like that in as a point source, it may affect it. If you've got some sort of a point source now, it's gonna be a 50-50, but you might wanna look into whether that sheet flow going on there.
All right, I can tell you right now, it does make it down its road to the bridge area.
Yep.
And that's when, if you notice when you go by there in the winter and it's iced up, it all catches there. It all flows downhill and it doesn't gradually sheet off because the road's not crowned.
So it just sits there, it doesn't go anywhere right now.
Right.
Okay, then you're
And
fine.
that's the issue here is too, you're gonna have all the curb lines and you're gonna have the concrete walls in there, you're gonna create a ponding condition, so we needed to drain that,
Okay,
that water.
I misunderstood. Okay, all right, that's fine.
And I guess my other concern with the detention basin is it's gonna collect any road sediment and stuff, but does that go into that stream at all?
There's gonna be a 2-foot sump limited by the bedrock, which will catch the
Any
siltation.
roadways, so. so-
It will have to be cleaned periodically.
Okay,
But it's-
because that would be a big concern of 8 Mile River is any contamination.
So this would actually be an improvement because
Okay,
previously there's.
Nothing,
Nothing.
just dump it in there.
And that was something that was brought up, we brought it to their attention that we were including a 2-foot sump, again, restricted to that 2-foot sump because bedrock is so shallow in that
Right.
area. But we tried to utilize the best we could with the 2-foot.
And I definitely want to add that the drainage system is being designed, calculations are put to it. The problem is, we're not doing it, it's the actual designer of the bridge.
Uh-huh.
But it is, meets all requirements. Basically, conduct.
Yeah. Haddam will be reviewing it and making finalized improvements.
This isn't a wetlands question, but are you putting up little detour signs for people?
Yes, it's not part of these sheets, but it may have been part of the plans.
Like I said, it's
We
not
do have
really, it's not a
we do have an
wetlands.
official detour plan that's included in the plans, and the contractor will have to do that prior to closing the road. He'll have
Yeah,
to-
because that's not gonna be obvious for people
Well,
navigating.
to just let you know,
Yeah,
minus the traffic from the people visiting the park, that road probably takes about 12 residential vehicles per day.
Yeah,
Right.
most.
And Jones Hill on the other side
right,
takes about 6 per day.
yeah.
So
But
we
it's
add
all-
the 12 to
yeah.
the Jones Hill 6, I
Right.
think it can handle it. It's horrifically low,
I know,
minus the
right,
people, most people use the Hop Yard Road access for the park. Very few
Right.
come from
From-
Salem on the
but it would
backside.
mostly be people who sort of live in the
Live there,
area.
yeah.
But it also is the campground now has to come in from that area, right? They
Yeah.
can't come
Yeah,
across
they'll
the
have to swing
bridge.
around.
Yeah,
So-
and that was a concern
Right.
of the town that was brought up, and that's the whole reason why we're accelerating the bridge construction as fast as possible. Everything's gonna be precast, and it'll be designed and built over the winter time. Everything will be approved, so when March 1st starts, the contractor can go in there immediately and get going, and all his precast will be ready to be delivered once he is set up to receive it.
Or is your staging area that parking lot,
Yeah,
probably?
right.
We probably won't be using that parking lot, just because that was a question that Deep had brought up. So it'll be, the contractor he's notified that he won't be able to use that parking lot.
Wait,
for
which
park
one?
purposes.
You've got one on the east and one on the west. I would think the one on
The
the
west
west.
side,
The
the
west
west side, I know,
side.
that was something that was brought up, the town and Deep had brought up that question.
People will probably continue to park on the west, but on the east side, no one's gonna get over there.
Well,
That's-
well, the east side, basically, all there is little
But
campground.
there's a parking area in front of
Oh,
that campground.
yeah.
You can use that as layout.
And there's a decent stretch of
Right.
roadway in there where cars shouldn't be coming through
Right.
anyway, so that guy can use that stretch of roadway for the
Yeah.
meantime,
Okay,
for any kind of staging materials if he needs to.
okay.
All right, I'm good. Is this a letter? Did you guys have an application or is this the?
It's an application.
Okay,
It's an
well,
application.
I move can we do it tonight?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. I move we approve the application W18-17 Fox Hop Yard Bridge over the 8 Mile River, Town of East Haddam. Place existing bridge in accordance with the plans dated, help me out guys.
Yeah, I didn't see a date in my copy. What's the date on
What's the most
this,
current date on
please?
those?
Date on this?
Most current date
And these plans,
should have been, last month, so.
June of 2018.
That works.
Okay.
June of 2018 is fine with me.
Those most up to, signed and sealed plans.
Okay.
Right.
Second?
Okay, any other comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay,
Thank you.
and you got tax, what the signs look like. No mistakes there. Okay, item C, W 18-18 Honey Hill Road, West Cameron Beard, 2-lot subdivision. Assessors map 5, lot 1.
This is actually it's a subdivision review
I was
versus a
gonna say,
permit.
this is
Yeah.
in the wetland.
Nope, this is a subdivision review.
Are there any wetlands on it at all?
We've been there. Remember when we went out to the herd of turkeys when we looked at the combined driveway and crossing on Honey Hill
okay,
Road?
oh, okay. Where it goes up into that
Yeah,
field
there
there.
was turkey and deer and they just
That was
stood and looked at
last
us.
year.
That was last year's, cause we looked at the wetland crossing last year
Okay, right.
and got that resolved.
That's when I
Every
had
year
my
you gotta
hair-
put it closer,
my
Roger.
arm in a
I know.
sling. I remember that.
Yeah.
Okay, so now this is just the subdivision itself, but we've,
Right.
gone and approved anything that had to deal with the wetlands.
Correct.
So this is just a subdivision review, it's not, have to take 2 months or
Yeah.
anything. Okay.
Okay, so this is property owned by Cameron Beard. It's on Honey Hill Road. It's about 1,000 feet past the Honey Hill Road, Headland Road intersection. So here's Honey Hill Road. This is the original subdivision map that this lot came out of back in '81. And it was a 3-lot subdivision. And then there was this other land, 30.5 acres. And that's the piece in question. That's the piece that we're talking about. It's owned by Cameron Baird. He lives, his house is contiguous to this. So he's the owner and the applicant. So if you take that one other land of, which is this area here, we're proposing 2 lots, 17.5 acre lot and a 12.9 acre lot. And it accesses off of Honey Hill Road. This, you remember last summer, we received a wetland permit with the idea that right now there is a common driveway that's off of this property that serves the Beard House and, I shouldn't say this, I guess the helicopter pad house.
Knackle.
Knackle. And that's a common drive now as we speak. So in the summer, what we looked at was, well, we've got 2 lots to access here. We do have access strips, but this is a wetland that runs right through here. And so we got the permit to allow some modifications to widen this common drive to meet zoning regulations. And then we would use that to access these 2 lots and not have a new crossing down the street. So that's the history on it.
But that'll remain shared on the bottom there, or are you making it separate?
Well, right here,
Yeah.
4 houses would be accessed, the 2 new ones and
Yep.
the 2 existing.
Yep,
Then as you come up here,
yep,
this would go to the 2 existing houses, and this would split off.
and go 1 to
This is
each.
new, as a common drive.
Yeah, yeah, and then it would
To
go
this
1 to
house,
each, right. But
and then
that
this-
first 250 feet would be all four
yeah.
houses. Okay.
And you're not proposing to change any of that approved wetland crossing?
No, no, that was done in the summer, and that still is,
Well, I don't know if there were that many.
I mean, it was approved in the summer, but it
Right.
hasn't been constructed yet.
Right,
So this is a 20 scale of the, 40 scale of the approach. So the common drive to the, this is basically the plan that you approved in the summer. So what it called for was some widening of the driveway because now it would serve 4 houses. It did neck down over here to minimize filling any of the wetlands.
right.
That's not a done deal yet. We do have to get, when we go before planning and zoning, we've got to get a waiver to allow that to be less than 18 feet wide. So we'll address that when we go before planning and zoning. And then when we get up to here, this is where it splits and goes to the new lots. And so we've been able to keep the driveway 100 feet away from the wetlands. This wetland continues, but it drops down, so,
Right.
and the driveway curves away.
If you don't get your variance, you'd have to come back to us to widen that, wouldn't you?
Yes.
Yes.
They-
Now, Roger,
Case
was,
like this,
was there a line of sight issue that I
Yeah.
remember?
Well, as part of the approval, the way we handled the narrowing was to create 2 bypass or
Okay.
laybys,
Yep.
one there.
Yep, and
I
one,
guess I guess we got down to 1.
Because
This
I
was-
think the
yeah, because there
other
was
wide
one,
enough
ledge.
here.
It
the
would-
other
or
one
there was-
had enough on it.
And then
Yeah.
there was a note, in fact, here are the condition approvals. Driveway lay-by shall not be paved, no curbing, and then we had to trim vegetation here to make
Yeah,
sure
to
that
make
intervisibility
Yeah.
between the lay-by
no.
and this wide part of the driveway.
Yeah, I don't see why they wouldn't approve, like Jimmy was starting to say it, with that layup on the north, I didn't know there was a layup on the north,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Right.
Or pull out, whatever you wanna call it.
So this match lines, as you go up the hillside to the two lots. And, you know, there's no wetland, upland review or wetland issues for the rest of this subdivision. It's all high and dry. And I guess the thing of interest, you know, you might have interest in is that Those who were out there, when we pointed out where this driveway was going, it's on a pretty steep side slope. So we had to kind of angle it so that we could keep the driveway no steeper than 12%. It's gonna be
Yeah.
paved the whole way. Actually, the only part of the driveway that's greater than 8% are the shaded areas. And none of those will exceed 12%, but the idea we
Right,
would pave the whole driveway.
and there's nothing within 100 feet of the wetland on those two
Right.
that they're planning to use.
And the one thing we did do in recognition of that's on a steep slope is we did two things. We called for the driveway to have a transverse pitch so that it doesn't have a centerline crown and shed flow on both sides. It's all slightly tilted at 2% so that whatever comes on the driveway sheet flows. I mean, it's still gonna go downhill because it's
Right.
8 to 10%, but there
Yeah.
will be some bleed off and you won't have it collecting in a gutter here.
Bless you.
Thank you.
And then every 100 feet, besides the silt fence, then all around us, every 100 feet, we've got a row of stake hay bales at the edge of driveway, so as that sheet flows off, it'll, catch anything and slow the velocity there. So that's basically it. There's another match line sheet, but that's just because the septic system was a little further on.
Okay, so from your point of view, there's no new impact on the wetlands other than the previously approved driveway?
Oh, yes.
But
Correct.
wait, but that driveway is not gonna change, and so there's no
No,
impact.
so our letter, just our letter to
But,
planning
yeah, I was
and
gonna ask Jim,
zoning.
is this an approval or is this a letter?
No, it's a letter
But
of
it's
planning
a
and
letter,
zoning, it's
'cause it
subdivision
should,
review.
Yeah,
it should have been.
That's what I figured.
But in the approval letter, we should say if there's any change to the driveway during the wetlands, because they have to go to some kind of a thing, they have to come back to us.
How about,
Okay.
I move we approve the application of W
No.
18
No, we're gonna send a
I
letter.
move, sorry, we write a letter. We just got to say it, dang it. I move we write a letter for W 18-18-81 Honey Hill Road, West Cameron, Beard, 2-lot subdivision, assessors map 5, lot 1, meets the requirements of the Wetlands Commission with the condition that if the driveway, the initial part of the driveway crossing changes in any way across the wetlands, that we see the application again.
Second?
Any other comments? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, item D, new W 18-19 Wickham Road drainage pipe, Town of East Haddam, first date July 17th, last date September.
Okay. Public Works Foreman,
Mr. Tuber.
one for right now. Back in March, asked me to take a look at a section of Wickham Road that he suspected was a vernal pool, but was blowing out the road when it filled and overtopping and then eroding Wickham Road. This is part of the gravel portion.
Yeah, I know. This is down by Roy's house, past by Roy, where Roy
You
lives.
go past, this is where Joe Clark lives in the Warnocky house. You know, the old section.
And
And
this-
obviously, we have to go out and take a look at it.
This, I see this fill up all the time. I knew this was vernal right
Yeah,
there. And there's a
so-
lot of trees and stuff that, I mean, that holds water for a while.
It holds water, it has a great water line. We waited, it was cold. Actually, they didn't appear till the end of April.
Wow.
There were almost approximately 20 egg masses,
These are wood frogs?
wood frogs, and a little bit spotted, just a few, more wood frogs. And so what we talked about is I said, well, you do need a pipe because it's eroding and it's taking away the neighbor's, Joe Clark's driveway.
Yeah.
But you need to figure out a way to maintain the high water mark so it doesn't change the integrity of the pool. So
Tricky.
their plan was to drop a catch basin on the side of the road so that it spilled into it.
Can you do that though? Cause that slope goes,
You'll see it when you go out there. It's not as bad.
I mean,
So
is-
we'll go out in the field and look at it.
I'm pretty sure that flows east to west though.
It actually, you see
Yeah,
where the
across
blue
the
line is?
Yeah.
Water, yeah,
Yeah.
that's where it goes, and see
So
the
they're
red
gonna,
line,
where are they putting the basin?
the basin would go.
Oh, I thought it was on this side. Okay,
No,
so
no,
if they
no.
put a basin here and set it high enough so that it won't drain that out, that would
Right.
work.
Yeah,
That would
what we
work.
did is while we were in the field, we marked one of the trees.
Yep.
And we also have all the water lines, so he can take several shots to make sure it's set. So that was that, but while we were there talking to the neighbor about getting an easement, cause we were gonna be
Alright.
putting a structure, and we're gonna do it the right way, we're gonna get real easements. He said, well, why don't we go to the bottom of the other side of my house,
Okay.
and I'll show you this also. And we took a look at it, and it's clearly wetlands on the east side of the road. It kind of, again, overtops the road, erodes it away. And it isn't wetlands on the west side of the road. Until you
this?
get, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So we'll schedule it as part of the field walk.
And the same attack, you wanna put a,
No, and the other one, in this case, no, this is
Just a
just
pipe.
this is a pipe
Okay.
just to stop it from overtopping the road and eroding the scenic road.
Now,
Um,
I have just a question, is it possible at all to raise the road up a little bit?
Well, what happens
It is a
is
dirt
no matter
road.
what is, you raise the road, and they've been playing that game, then it elevates the water being held, and eventually,
Well-
like, today would be the day, if we got the
Oh.
4 inches that they said we could get, no matter how much we raised the road, it would have gone
Because
over the
everything
top.
just-
Well, I was wondering, you could raise the road, I mean, but keep the basin so the pipe goes underneath, so it maintains the
Well, that's
height of the.
that's the goal on both of them,
Okay.
to maintain
The
the height.
height
A-
of
As where the
water.
second diagram I gave you, there actually is no ponding,
Okay,
but the first one, clearly, it's a,
Right.
I mean, that's why I said to him, I said, we'll wait. We'll go out and inspect it several times to see if we can find any vernal pool activity. We did, it confirmed what we thought. So we're
yeah,
taking in this
because
approach.
on this side it's all wooded in there.
I think, I hate to say it, I think this is vernal. Ultimately, I mean, you may
When you
wanna,
look at it from the road, you don't see any spots.
okay,
Which one are you looking
the
at?
bottom one,
Yeah.
the bottom one on the right.
Small
And then-
pockets?
Yeah.
And on two of the easements, they have to come from Mr. Clark, the other one is from the East Haddam Fish and Game, and would you think that piece would have a survey to it? Heck, no.
They don't have, do they have,
Nah, they don't. That
we went
one-
out and did their house there, they had a survey, didn't they? We went out and we did something at their clubhouse.
The
a while
clubhouse,
ago.
yeah.
But they don't have anything on the properties?
Nah, not on this
It's
one.
1,000 acres, right?
Yeah, I know.
Something
Yeah, it's
crazy.
in an old deed. Yep.
Okay.
So that's what we have.
Okay. So we don't act on this, it's just the next.
No,
No,
I
this gets-
move we continue the application and schedule the field walk.
Second.
Any comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So voted. Okay, next. Enforcement officer's report.
You may see on the Moodus Reservoir, the weed harvester that's hired by private individuals, they're going to be out there. They notified me that they're getting started, although it's a little late, but they're going to be out there. I haven't heard about anything as far as herbicides on Bashan or Lake Hayward, but I thought there was another round of that coming.
Okay, this is on Moodus Reservoir?
No, this would be on Bashan. The weed removal machine, it's
It's
big-
cool.
It's
Yeah.
cool,
Yeah.
yeah. Is
That's
on,
on Moodus.
on Moodus.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Basin should need anything with it being dry for the last year, no?
Well, they, you know, and that's kind of the conflict between the groups now. The Moose Reservoir went ahead a couple years ago and got a grant to spend $25,000 for a herbicide application. They kind of thought I was the curmudgeon in the room when I said it won't work and you're gonna have an adverse impact to the organic farm on the shoreline. Their professionals said the stuff doesn't migrate, it holds exactly where it's supposed to be. As one of the individuals in that association said, we needed to learn the hard way. They put the application down for 25 acres, was done by a professional firm. DEP assisted in monitoring the water. They found that it migrated to the,
Farm.
well, not only to the farm, but it also migrated underneath the causeway to the town beach.
Oh,
Even though it's in parts per million and all that, that's not what's supposed to happen. And the worst thing for it was that after that application, everything grew back by the fall.
So did you get a big T-shirt that says "I told you so" and wear it to the?
I was tempted,
But
but now I've got to give them credit. They've dedicated to getting something a little different than the weed harvester that's out there. They actually took a ride to Pennsylvania to look at a machine that will pick it up by the roots. So it's more than a harvester.
So the machine now kind of tears it,
The machine now mows it. That's the best way to describe it.
Okay.
It mows it.
but it doesn't get the roots.
It doesn't get the roots.
Okay.
And of course with milfoil, you know, once it breaks up into pieces,
Right.
it spreads and disperses, but it's better than the herbicide. It allows you to go swimming for the year and, you know, do the
But the
things
stuff that
you
gets
wanna
at the roots is probably pretty successful.
do. Well, that seems to have, that also is a maintenance. It's not a good forever thing.
Well, 'cause it's still gonna break up and you're
You know,
still gonna get
but-
pieces,
But
but.
they researched it, they've looked into it, they've come to the conclusion that it's gonna cost about $100,000 to purchase, and to purchase the trailer to move it, and the hauling trailers. They've talked to Cones Farm about being the recipient of the organic matter to use it as mulch. They've got that agreement in place. They're a 501c, thank God, so they can accept donations. They had a picnic at the Sportsman's Club recently, and right now they are approximately at 20,000, or 1/5 of their way.
Nice.
Right, well, I would think a machine like this, they might be able to rent it out to other groups.
Yeah.
Other lake, yeah.
And they
Because they
talked
don't
about
need it
that.
all the time.
Well,
See if Bashan wants it.
the thing does about, I think I wanna say, does like an acre and a half an hour or something.
Yeah,
But then you gotta think about the guy that's gotta take it. It's like loading, Todd will appreciate it. It's like, hey, you can cut it that fast, but then you gotta load it, unload it. Someone else has to be, you know, you need to have a
Right.
3-person team.
It would seem like
Do this.
once the thing is in place and runs around the reservoir, it's gonna be there all season.
Yeah.
Because it's like painting the Golden Gate Bridge. When you get done with one end, you gotta start at the other end.
Of
You gotta
course,
keep going.
of course, Mary didn't help by asking Gary if he was gonna be the operator and if he was gonna be the Forrest Gump of the Moodus Reservoir. So hopefully, they're gonna make a hard push, and maybe then from that point on, they can educate others that
right,
herbicide is not the answer.
and is this kind of being monitored more or less by the DEP?
Once it gets in place, they gotta get the funding
Okay.
and then they'll pull the proper permits, but
Okay.
they, you know, it's, actually, half the membership thought that the people in charge were crazy. But when they saw that they were that successful on a first shot, it's given them some hope, so. I'll keep you updated on a semi-annual basis
Okay,
and see where we can go from there.
all right, anything else?
That's about it.
Conservation Commission input,
I'm here, but I have nothing to report.
okay.
We're trying to put the bridge up down at the Rose Farm property, but it's, I'd like to wait for it's drier than it is now. We'll see what happens. 'Cause we're down in the spring, there's quite a bit of water
Yeah.
flows through there,
Yeah.
quite a bit of water. So we want to do it when it's drier, but we're getting, Rob's already purchased materials for it, and it's just a matter of watching the weather.
Yeah, might be a fall project.
I got a question for you though, you just said talking about the Basin Lake weed problem and reservoir weed problem, what's the root cause of that problem?
Root.
Roots.
You said it.
They're invasive species. They've been around for decades now. And you know, the problem is that, yes, some of it does come in on boats, but some of it comes in on birds. They can come on their legs, and a little bit breaks off, and it's in there like wildfire. And there's never a way, you know, there's just never a way on, especially in the shallow ends of like Lake Hayward and the shallowness of the Moodus River, there's no way. Even you think about it, they drained that lake back. And everybody said, oh, when they redid the dam and it's drained there, and then they yelled and screamed because it was too long of a project and they didn't have any water for a year, and then everybody said, look, it's gonna freeze and it's gonna die back, but within 2 years, it bloomed right back. It
Yeah.
goes to where it wants to go.
Yep.
And it's just a fact of life. I mean, and that's what I kind of look at it and say they don't come to terms with this, but, they talked about, geez, if we had this $25,000, it would be another quarter of the way there.
But even if they hit it with the chemicals, boat's gonna come in with it, large surface area on the boat. You're gonna get, like Jim says, birds and whatnot, but somebody brings a boat from point A to point B, they don't rinse it off really well. They're
No.
supposed to, but they don't rinse it off really well.
Well, and
They've
there's
got
no
surface
real-
area just.
There's no real wash station when you go from reservoir
Right,
to,
right, and who's there to monitor it, so.
Yeah, so it's just very difficult,
Yeah.
but most of these lakes, I would say most of these lakes, most of these ponds have it.
Well,
I'd venture to say, name a place that doesn't.
right, but the disadvantage we have with the Rudis is it's so shallow, the light gets through and it just,
Yeah.
like wildfire.
Yeah.
And before, it used to be lily pads, but now it's the fanwort and the milfoil, and, it's different species, and it's more monolithic.
And that other species that's coming down the river.
The trouble with this root puller though, it's like harrowing a field, you're gonna kick up a lot of sediment.
You are.
The fish aren't gonna like that at all.
I would beg to differ, I think the fish would love that.
Really, a lot of sediment in the water?
Oh, yeah. It might bother them initially a little bit with the gills, but that's gonna kick a ton of food up. That's gonna kick a ton of food.
Yeah.
They're gonna be so excited running around there eating everything they can eat right behind.
Nice.
Fat fish.
Big fat fish.
Okay,
Motion to adjourn,
Second,
2011, nope, 2012,
what?
8/12, sorry.
Oh, thank you. I knew what you meant, but, all those in favor? Aye.
aye.
Okay.